Imagine being ripped away from your job, your community, and the children you care for. That's the reality Diana Patricia Santillana Galeano, a Chicago daycare worker, is facing. But there's a glimmer of hope. A federal judge has stepped in, at least temporarily, to halt her removal from the U.S. and prevent her transfer outside of a specific region. But here's where it gets controversial. Court documents reveal that Judge Jeremy C. Daniel issued a temporary order barring the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, from deporting Santillana Galeano and from moving her to any federal jurisdiction beyond Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin. This ruling comes after a rather dramatic incident earlier this week in Chicago that ignited public outrage. The 38-year-old Santillana Galeano was detained at Rayito de Sol, a Spanish-language immersion daycare center. Local officials described the scene as an abduction in front of her students, claiming she was forcibly removed on Wednesday morning. DHS, however, paints a different picture. They allege that she fled into the daycare after an attempted traffic stop and then provided false information about her identity. And this is the part most people miss. Santillana Galeano is currently being held at an ICE facility in Clark County, Indiana. Her attorney, Charlie Wysong, issued a statement emphasizing that she was taken from her workplace by federal agents despite possessing a work permit that allows her to legally work in the United States. Wysong is actively seeking her release on bond through a habeas corpus petition. The petition claims that Santillana Galeano entered the U.S. in March 2023 without inspection. Interestingly, the petition also notes that she was initially released by DHS, without bond or conditions after that initial entry. The charge against her is entering the country without inspection, which is a civil offense, not a criminal one. Her legal team argues that Santillana Galeano applied for asylum or withholding of removal, a process that led to her receiving a work permit valid until November 12, 2029. They are now urging Judge Daniel to mandate a bond hearing, asserting that DHS arrested her without a warrant, violating a consent decree that necessitates a warrant for the arrest of certain individuals. The petition also mentions that she was, at least briefly, held at ICE's Broadview processing facility. It's worth noting that Judge Daniel recently ordered the government to provide a bond hearing for Ruben Torres, the father of a 16-year-old cancer patient, also being held at the Clark County, Indiana facility. Torres was subsequently released on October 30th. This could be seen as a positive precedent for Santillana Galeano's case. An important detail missing from the court records is any mention of DHS's reported claim that Santillana Galeano had recently paid to have her teenage children smuggled across the border. This omission raises questions about the evidence being presented and the rationale behind her detention. Is this relevant information being withheld, or is it simply not a factor in the current legal proceedings? Wysong remains optimistic, stating, "We anticipate Ms. Santillana will have a hearing in federal court next week, where we will seek a bond hearing to swiftly seek her release from detention. Ms. Santillana belongs at home and with the Rayito de Sol community, where she is a beloved and respected member. Our daycare centers and other schools must be safe places where our children are protected from harm." This case highlights the ongoing debate surrounding immigration enforcement and the impact on families and communities. Should individuals with valid work permits be subject to arrest and detention based on past immigration violations? What responsibility does DHS have to ensure that arrests are conducted in a manner that minimizes disruption to sensitive environments like daycare centers? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below.